Welcome back, True Seeker. It is Monday, November 3rd, 2025. The big story in the nation, the Trump administration says they're only going to give out half of the typical food stamp amount to recipients for the month of November. Of course, this is the month of Thanksgiving, the month we equate with food. We'll get to that. We're going to talk about all these things. We're going to talk about the death of Bob Trumpy, an Illinois native being announced dead. For people who don't know, Bob Trumpy, longtime Cincinnati Bengal, who's also the Bengals announcer. They announced his death just before the Bengals and Bears game. Of course, the Bears are from Illinois, where Bob Trumpy's from. And, of course, this game had the most WWE finish of the week. But yeah, this was also announced on National Ohio Day. And of course, last week, Nick Mangold was announced dead just before the Bengals and Jets game. He was from Ohio, played his whole career with the Jets. The Jets got their first win of the season in Ohio over the Bengals with Justin Fields, who played at Ohio State. So in back-to-back weeks, very similar narratives here with the deaths of Nick Mangold and Bob Trumpy. And of course, you hear that name Trumpy, it's got to remind you of the man who said it's the golden era, who is from New York, who had his convention in 2016 in Ohio, in Cleveland, like the only other split-term president. But yeah, if you saw the box score, the final winning score was 47 after Bob Trumpy died on National Ohio Day. So we'll talk more about it, how big the ritual was. Again, we'll get in this food stamp thing. We talked about the World Series. We got the exact outcome we expected. And like I said, these championships, they come with a lot of deaths. One of the deaths announced as the World Series ended was the brother of the Los Angeles Chargers player and also the son of Big U. We're going to look more at that because I actually broke it down further than I did when we looked at it in the live stream. And we'll see just how ritualistic it is and why he was chosen for the 121st World Series. Of course, his name value equates to 121 in Gematria. We'll also talk in greater depth about the Mariners pitcher who was announced dead as the World Series was winding down. You had two young Mariners, former Mariners players announced dead around the time of the World Series. He was the second. Last week, we talked about the death of the Fresh Prince actor who died at 42. Headline I missed that was circulating at that same time, a Chris Brown dancer dead at 42. We'll see just how perfect that ritual is. R.I.P. And then we'll talk about Trump threatening to send troops to Nigeria over the weekend. And somebody left a great comment on the video I did on Hurricane Melissa, and they took this to a much deeper level. We're also going to cover that. It shows you how undeniable the ritual was with the hurricane that hit Jamaica and how this isn't Mother Nature. This is weather warfare. And if you doubt that, again, you need to pay attention because really it's undeniable what's going on. And we're going to make that point in a big way. But let's start here with Bob Trumpy. Again, in back-to-back weeks, a big NFL death announced right before kickoff of a Bengals game and someone who was connected to that game. And he was from Tremont, Illinois. It's funny, actually, what's interesting is they updated this. Prior to the game, when we first looked at this in real time on Patreon, it said he was from Springfield, Illinois. And then by the end of the game, it said he was from Tremont, Illinois. And regardless, you know, it's Illinois. The Bears are playing the Bengals. Again, he was a career Bengal and the Bengals announcer. If Tremont is the actual town, it could make even more sense because Tremont's on the 89th meridian, and that's how many points were put up in this game. And, you know, I'm sure a lot of people bet the under on this game because all morning ESPN was harping on about how bad a shape Flacco's arm was in. He was going to struggle to throw the ball. The Bears, their offense doesn't normally put up 47 points unless you get a death like Trumpy. Don't forget, Trump got 312 electoral college votes either. You know, the Chicago area code and all these things related to Chicago have happened ever since, starting with the death of Tony Todd, the Chicago related actor, because he played Candyman set in Cabrini Green in Chicago. Of course, Charlie Kirk from the Chicago area. Nick Fuentes getting more attention than ever from Chicago, et cetera, et cetera. Ice in Chicago, the Chicago-born Pope blessing Ice, who's a Bears fan. Yesterday was 49 days after the Pope's birthday, like Leo equals 49, like Caleb Williams. Like Caleb Williams got the 4 and 9 away with the late WWE theatrics. But yeah, Tremont on the 89th meridian for the 89 points in the game. ESPN had to show you the shot of 38. They had him score. They had to pull him out of the bottom of the depth chart for the touchdown in the game centered around death. Remember, in last week's game, one of the final scores was 38. It was 39-38. The Jets beat the Bengals. New York equals 39. Just like yesterday, we had McCaffrey for 2 touchdowns to get the 39 with the 49ers playing the other New York team. G-Men equals 39 as well. Giants equals 25. Mac Jones got his 25th win over the Giants yesterday. But anyway, about this game, 38. Again, death, murder, killing, RIP. They all equal 38. This guy hardly ever, I have to look it up. It could be his first career touchdown, but just 2 back-to-back weeks. Death in the game, 38 points in the box score. In this game, they have number 38 score. And you can see Tremont is on the 89th meridian. Apparently, Trumpy's hometown, after it was corrected after his death from Springfield, which is just outside Chicago, to Tremont. But yeah, notice it was National Ohio Day, and we'll get to how that has a gematria value of 80, like his age of death. Like the last person to score for the Bengals was number 80, and I'm sure the Bengals fans felt that they had won the game at that point since there was hardly any time left on the clock before the Bears went down the field in 37 seconds, because, of course, Chicago equals 37. But yeah, of course, Ohio equals 47 like Trump, 47 points. Bob Trumpy was drafted into the NFL in 68. Remember, the apprentice equals 68 and 211. 211 is the 47th prime. Yesterday was the second day of the 11th month. A ripe day for National Ohio Day for a 47-point score in Ohio. Of course, Donald John Trump's also 68. And yeah, dead on National Ohio Day at 80. Think about how perfect it is. You can see the Bengals, number 80, Andre Iosivas, scored the go-ahead touchdown with less than a minute left. 54 seconds. And, of course, I've explained over the years why that number's been very attached to the Bengals, especially since Joe Burrow went there. I'm not going to get into it right now, but then 37 seconds later, like Chicago's 37, the Bears go up with 17 seconds on the clock. And you see that number a lot in Ohio because Ohio's the 17th state. It's like when LeBron left Ohio for LA on the first day of the 7th month. I put out a video that day and I said LeBron will win the Lakers their 17th title in his 17th season. Exactly what he did. They had to sacrifice Kobe for it. Of course, LeBron won that finals on Father-Daughter Day after the death of Kobe and Gianna. Kobe dead at 41. LeBron wins the finals exactly 41 weeks after his birthday. Trumpy also equals 49, like Leo, like Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams became 4 and 9 away, 49 days after the Pope's birthday. Said Bob Trumpy, a former Cincinnati Bengals star wide receiver and tight end, has died. The team announced on Sunday he was 80. The team said Trumpy, who was also a broadcaster for several major sporting events, died at his home surrounded by his family. Keep in mind the 80th NBA season is just getting underway. Trump will turn 80 during the NBA Finals. So I've known Bob since we started here, and he had an extraordinary career as both a player and a broadcaster. Bengals team president Mike Brown said in a statement. Remember, the Bengals' first game of the year was on the original Brown, who used to be at the Cleveland Browns, who went to the Bengals. It was on his birthday anniversary. If you don't know, the Browns are named after him. And that's why we had Chase Brown to score the first touchdown of the day. And he did. Of course he did. How could he not? How could Chase Brown not score the first touchdown of the day on the Brown ancestor's birthday? It's because it's the National Fixed League. It's all ritual. He was an exceptional and rare tight end who could get downfield in split zone coverages. Speed was his hallmark. He was as fast as any wide receiver and was a deep threat. That was rare for a tight end then, and it's rare now. And then it goes on talking about how he was drafted in 68. He retired 48 years ago. It's probably noteworthy because Donald Trump equals 48. Donald John Trump, 68. And if you forgot about Nick Mangold already, because it's the United States of Amnesia, again, we talked about this before last week's Bengals game. dead at 41. The news announced exactly 41 weeks into what would have been his age. Of course, J.D. Vance is 41 years old. He's a big Bengals fan. He talked a lot about the Bengals in the news on his 41st birthday back on August 2nd. We covered that then. And yeah, when Nick Mangold died, he went to Ohio State like J.D. Vance. Remember, they won the college championship on Inauguration Day. That was 85 days after Vance's birthday when he died. National Football League. And Mangold wore 74. The Bengals fell to 7-4 versus the Jets at home the day of his death, losing with 38 points. New York 39, 38, the death number. Donald Trump, Mr. Golden Era. So think about it, in back-to-back weeks, Mangold and then Trumpy. And remember, Cincinnati, the Society of Cincinnati. It's a secret society that a lot of presidents have been in. Part of me is starting to wonder, is Trump in the Society of Cincinnati? Maybe he is. Maybe he is. A president that was in the Society of Cincinnati is Zach Taylor, which is also the name of the Bengals coach. But yeah, Trump's 79 at the moment. Nicholas Allen Mangold was last week's ritual. And he did die the day before the news broke, October 25th. They didn't announce it until just before the game Sunday. But he died 133 days after Trump's birthday. Again, like president, like White House, like government, like football, like the U.S. Constitution's birthday is 133 days before the NFL was born, on the nose. 133 years on the nose. And yeah, again, they saved the news of Mangold for the day, leaving 66 days left in the year. So it just blows me away how this stuff goes on literally week after week, and almost no one talks about it. I mean, you would think that in a world that we live in where people are so obsessed with sport and celebrity, people would pick up on this. That's what I don't get. That's what I don't get. It's like, how does this go unnoticed? How does this go untalked about? It boggles my mind. It's weird how the internet's changed culture too, because you go on YouTube, you think this would be like a big popular conversation. And granted, had I done this video 10 years ago, it would have been a big popular conversation. It would have got a lot of views. But now you go on YouTube, it's just like everyone's just fighting over stuff that I didn't think people cared that much about. Politics. Growing up, I didn't see that many people cared that much about politics. It wasn't that interesting. Sports, though, super interesting. Celebrity, super interesting. Politics, not so much. But look at YouTube now. It's like all videos of people fighting over politics and just watching dumb people argue about things they don't know about. Kilmar Abrego Garcia's an MS-13. No, he isn't. They photoshopped the MS-13 tattoo. Okay, yeah, but he had a marijuana leaf in his skull, which actually means MS-13. It's just like, Jesus. This is like what all of America's talking about right now. It's the stupid shit. How about learn Gematria, and then you'll see through the Kilmar Abrego Garcia ritual, all of it. The Mar-a-Lago raid, the Charlie Kirk thing, the 88-foot flagpoles. Every last one of those rituals is 88 because Trump equals 88. And I'm actually surprised in a way they almost didn't have an 88-point game yesterday, 47. I wonder if things were a hair off now that I think about it. Did they mean to go 47-41 for the 88 total points in the Trumpy death? But anyway, it's just, I don't know. It is the Twilight Zone. It is the Twilight Zone. Okay, the food stamps again every day. It's federal news by the numbers, and you see how they show you the number 89 shirt here. Remember, chaos equals 89. That's what they're trying to. That's what they're trying to provoke in this holiday season. Chaos, hungry people. When people are hungry, that's when things can get wild. But notice Trump with that June 14th birthday. Today, the administration says they're only going to get half the food stamps for November, the month we equate with food because of Thanksgiving. Food stamps 142. So 142 days after Trump's birthday, they have this announcement. Doesn't seem a little bit too perfect. Today is 64 days after the anniversary of the Food Stamp Act being signed by Lyndon Johnson. Remember, that was the 88th Congress, by the way. But that was in 64. Today's 64 days after that anniversary date, August 31st, that the Food Stamp Act was created. Chess, 64 spaces on the chessboard, making moves. provoking the people. The Food Stamp Act. And to be fair, if you counted the span of days, instead of saying 64 days later, if you counted the span, you could say today's the 65th day since the anniversary of the act. Food Stamp Act does equal 65. The Trump administration said Monday that it will provide only half of the normal food stamp benefits for November by tapping into the program's contingency fund amid the government shutdown, but recipients are not likely to see the payments immediately. So, and as we talked about, the judges came to the rescue for Halloween, and Trump said he was going to break out the Trump card to get people fed for Halloween. And remember, Halloween's the day leaving 61 days left in the year. It was 61 days after August 31st, and the program is 61 years old. Like Washington, D.C. equals 61. I mean, all of this is straight up ritual. So, in other words, nothing new. What the government does day after day, playing with us by a Kabbalistic code of ABC 1, 2, 3. And there were so many celebrity deaths in the time of the World Series. I don't even have the exact count, but like I said, I mean, just pay attention because it happens year after year. And as the World Series was won by LA, as I explained all postseason, why no doubt that was going to be the case. They were the ones with the World Series numbers. You just follow those World Series numbers. They win it year after year. Again, as it's won, the news story is breaking that the Los Angeles Chargers brother is dead, and their father's in the music industry, and his father's now helps prevent gang violence and used to be a member of the Rolling 60s Crips. But notice the brother who plays in the NFL. And remember, he plays for the Chargers in Los Angeles. The Chargers became 5-3 in Thursday night football on the eve of the World Series beginning, which began on the 53rd death anniversary of Jackie Robinson, who died at age 53 as the Dodgers went on to win the 53rd World Series for the National League. Of course, Los Angeles equals 53. But look at the brother's name, 123, right? Like Jackie. This is who plays for the Chargers. 60, like his father's in the Rolling 60s Crips. They saved the news for the day, leaving 60 days left in the year. 201 goes without saying. It's the Illuminati Jesuit code. And 57, like World Series. Dave Roberts started the World Series with his 57th win and finished the World Series with his 69th win. World Series equals 57 and 69. The brother was killed on 69th Street, and the brother's name is Jabari, which equals 121 for the 121st World Series. He was shot on 69th and Figueroa Street. Figueroa Street's 121, just like his name. Blood Sacrifice is 121. He was killed on Halloween, which this year was a date with 86 numerology. Nipsey Hussle, when he died, his ritual was all about 67. He was also in the Rolling 60s Crips, just to remind about that. He died on March 31st, like 331's the 67th prime. And the brother was murdered at 34. Fernando Valenzuela, number 34. 34, the 9th Fibonacci number. Dodgers got their 9th World Series win. Tied it up in the 9th with the 9th hitter tying it up with a solo shot home run. But you come down to the article. It points out he was killed just after 11 p.m. Like Game 7 went to the 11th inning. And it says he was shot at the intersection of 69th Street and Figueroa, as Dave Roberts goes on to get his 69th postseason win, starting the postseason with his 57th win. Again, you got to win 13 when you come from the wild card. So his first postseason win was 57, up to 69. Remember last year, 120th World Series, the Dodgers picked up their 57th win all time in the World Series, winning it all. 119th World Series, the year before that, the Rangers manager got his 57th career win in the postseason, winning it all. The 118th World Series, I can't remember if the World Series numbers were a part of that or not. That was where they won. The Astros won it a year to the day of the Astro World tragedy. And then the year of the Astro World tragedy, that was the 117th World Series. I remember that one well. The Astros got their 69th postseason loss to Atlanta, which also equals 69, losing the World Series. The 116th World Series, I don't think it had the World Series numbers either, but it was all about Jackie Robinson that year and Mookie Betts coming over in the 42 ritual. 115th World Series, the Astros got their 57th postseason loss to the Nationals, losing it all when Nationals also equals 57. These numbers have come up so many times, and I've been tracking this since, again, I began doing the World Series with Gematria, which was in the 111th World Series. So this year was the 11th World Series of tracking it, and we've smashed the World Series year after year, understanding these numbers. People would rather talk about trivial nonsense rather than lock into some knowledge and learn how to pad their pockets and change their life. Also, about their father, Big U, Eugene Henley Jr., 73, like Los Angeles Dodgers, like Ritual Sacrifice. And if you look, they're reporting in the media that Will Smith set a record catching for 73 innings in the World Series. The total innings played were 74. And as far as I know, Will Smith caught every single inning. So the stat they should be putting out there is 74. But they're putting out 73 anyway. And again, we've always known this is a huge number of the Dodgers, 73. Gematria at 32, he had that post up at the beginning of the stream that I put on the screen. You see 73 around sacrifice a lot. He said also in the headlines right now, sounds like a Donna Jean Gajot Mackay, must be at least part French. The only woman to have graced the Graceful Dead's lineup has died at 78, 73 days after her birthday. All the time in the world of sacrifice, you'll find this 73 number. But yeah, just business as usual. And from 69th Street to also dead in the headlines, this young Major League Baseball pitcher whose name equals 69. And he died on October 30th. Supposedly had a heart attack at the wheel and then was involved in a deadly car crash. On the day, leaving 62 days left in the year. Seattle Mariners, 62, like sacrifice. And of course, they lost in the ALCS to Toronto. Again, they brought over Naylor, who was from Ontario. The World Series was set on his 121st day of his age. Couldn't be any more perfect. And he died 95 days after his birthday. His story was big on Halloween. He got all the recognition online. The World MLB paid tribute to him on Halloween. Dead 95 days after his birthday. Halloween and Blue Jays 95. Again, the Mariners got defeated by the Blue Jays by the numbers. And it said he played pro ball for 17 years. Remember, the World Series ended exactly 17 weeks after Ohtani, number 17's birthday. You had 1 through 17 together. It's 153. Like the Dodgers got their 153rd postseason win. And the Japanese horse, the first one to ever win the Breeders' Cup main event, Forever Young, its name equaled 153. And again, we were locked into that too before the race went off, all from understanding the way the games are rigged and how it's all connected. People would rather talk about that's what's sad too. I mean, it just shows you how humanity is under mind control, because all they talk about is what comes from the authority, and all the authority feeds them is bullshit, and they're all addicted to it. Just like you drive by, the shittiest restaurants like McDonald's, everyone's just crammed into that drive-through. Can't wait to eat some more shit in their mouth. Same with the information they consume. It's the exact same. Two young black actors, small roles in the world of celebrity, and they're just both out of here at 42, about the same time. Chris Brown paid tribute to her death at 42 on October 30th, the day leaving 62 days left in the year. This is like the same thing as the Mariners pitcher. Janina Garraway, 62, sacrifice 62. She was in the Say Goodbye music video, a dancer in the video. Look at Gematria, 118 like death and homicide, 46 like sacrifice, like Genesis 46. I don't have anything to say about the 152, but the 44, kill and execution equal 44 and 46. So say goodbye. Think about that too. She said goodbye at a young age, 42. That's how old I am right now. 42. Not that old. Not that old at all. Says the entertainment world mourns the loss of Janina Garraway, a talented dancer and actress who passed away after a private battle with cancer. By the way, cancer equals 44. Cancer equals 44 and 118 to be exact. Just like her name. Garraway gained widespread recognition for her starring role in Chris Brown's 2006 Say Goodbye. Now, think about that. That's 19 years ago, right? These people like that 19-year cycle of the moon. A lot of things happen in 19-year cycles. 19 years later, she's dead. Diddy starts dating Cassie at age 19 when she's 38. Diddy's going down all connected to Cassie. Remember, Cassie equals 106, like he was arrested on the day, leaving 106 days left in the year. 2006 Say Goodbye music video, and maintained a successful career spanning dance, acting, and business ventures. Chris Brown paid tribute to the performer through his Instagram story, expressing his gratitude for their professional relationship and extending condolences to her family. The R&B artist acknowledged Garraway as part of his extended professional family. Oh, shit. I got to end the stream, you guys. My bad. I realized I'm supposed to be somewhere right now, and I'm not. All right. My bad, you guys. Sorry. Got to wrap it up. Real quick, though, I just want to make this point. The hurricane in Jamaica, we talked about how it hit on the 83 date numerology, like flood, earth, and Enlil. Remember earlier this year when Myanmar got rocked by that 7.7 earthquake at the 770th minute of the day? It was 77 days after the anniversary of Myanmar getting independence from Britain. Notice the Jamaica hurricane was 83 days after them getting independence from the UK. Just like flood, earth, Enlil. Enlil's the Babylonian god of flooding. 83 date numerology, 83 days after the anniversary. And then what else is crazy is, remember, the UK has the first admitted act of weather warfare. From that anniversary, August 15th, to the hurricane was 74 days. Like Marley went solo in the UK in 74. Marley, energy, weapon, killing, London, Masonic occult, English, all 74. All right, my bad, you guys. Thank you very much, Chris. Appreciate that. Congrats on the win. Well done. And shout out to Dale again. You guys are always generous, and I do appreciate it. Till next time, Truth Seeker.